Bring back Fox News contributors Donna Rotunno and Josh Ritter. Josh, I want to play this out. This is more from SOT2 guys. This is Twigs. When he details meeting Tyler Robinson. Listen here.
When I first met him, I didn't know him super well. He was just a new roommate. So I knew he knew my friend group, and I knew he liked playing games, but that's about it.
At some point, your relationship progressed to something more than just roommates, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
When was that?
I think we started dating 2 or 3 months after he moved in.
So, Josh, while there was a lot of lead up to this and we weren't really sure what this relationship was, how it was defined, how and when it came together, clearly we heard in that interview they moved in together and 2 or 3 months later they began dating. So confirming in that interview that this was a romantic relationship.
Yeah, and think about how powerful that's going to be for the jury, too. That this is not a person who just knew him casually. This was a person who was intimately involved with Tyler Robinson, and this person is willing to testify about everything that Tyler Robinson told him. I mean, we have a lot of evidence. I think all of us have made that clear today, that we all believe that there's plenty of evidence, certainly for this hearing and even at trial. You're talking about the DNA, the surveillance video, the ballistics, everything else. But the evidence of words out of the defendant's own mouth, whether that comes through another witness or in the form of text messages, those, in my view, are the most powerful to jurors because they may be able to understand how DNA might be placed somewhere or ballistics might be twisted around. But when somebody is admitting to something, there's really no lawyering you can do to get around that. And this, what we've heard today, is, in my view, the cornerstone of the entire prosecution case.
Yeah, Donna, let me put to you the question I put to Paul Mauro in that vein. The fact that in the interview, Lance Twigg says, I met with Tyler the next day and asked him if what he told me the night before about, yes, he did it, he killed Charlie Kirk, was true, and he said yes. I mean, full stop, that's one-on-one in-person witness. That's not hearsay evidence. That's not a text message. That's not, I was told over the phone. That is in person. He said, yes, he did it.
Yeah, it's very compelling. I mean, it's like the slam dunk of the case, right? He's almost giving him an opportunity to take the statement back. And remember, in those text messages where he first makes this admission in this statement, he says, I meant to delete that, or I tried to delete that. So in the moment of sending it, he's realizing the damaging nature of what he just did. And it's almost as if Lance Twiggs didn't want to believe it. And the next morning, it's like he had to look at him and hear it from his own mouth to make sure what he was reading and what he saw on that note under the keyboard was actually true.
Josh, they'll be back, it looks like at 3:30 Eastern time. That's about 36 minutes from now. A lot of focus has been on this judge, this newish judge, throughout all of this. Your thoughts on that?
Well, given how slowly everything has progressed and given how much the judge allows everyone to have plenty of time to voice their arguments, if I'm the prosecution, I'm having serious thoughts about coming out of this lunch break and saying, Your Honor, we're done. Yes. We rest. We feel that we've reached our burden. If the defense has some witnesses they want to put on, use the remaining time of today and all of tomorrow to try to get this thing done this week. If you have any chance of doing that, because I guarantee you this, by the way, what we're not calculating into the matrix here as far as how much time this will all take, there's still argument at the end of this. The judge is still going to allow them to make their case on whether or not that burden of probable cause, as low as it is, has been met. And these attorneys like to talk, so that could take some time.
Well, and you still have cross-examination of this witness. So the state's attorney can say, I'm done with my evidence, but who knows how long the cross-examination is going to take of Officer Davis, who's on the stand.
Okay.
All right. Thanks,
Thank you
folks.
so much.
Appreciate it. You'll be on in the story coming right up as we get back to court. Well, let's bring in Kerri Urbahn, Fox News legal editor, for some final thoughts here. We're just getting some color here from the court. When they got to the part about the rifle, discussing that he wanted to go back and get the rifle. Tyler was swinging in his chair, scratching his nose, looked uncomfortable with the text messages on the screen. Erica Kirk was looking down, leaning forward, not looking at the screen, showing the text. When they got to the part about Lance asking Tyler in the text, does he need the rifle for hunting, that kind of stuff, that's when Erica audibly began crying. Tyler's mom was also crying at that point, not audibly. She was wiping her eyes. Charlie's mom had her hand on Erica's upper arm, shoulder. They're both tearful. Just getting some of the action inside the courtroom there as all of this unfolds. And you could imagine for Erica Kirk to hear all of this just has to be devastating, again, because it's just like right back in her face again.
That's right. I mean, she's reliving the most traumatic experience that someone could potentially go through, and against the backdrop of people who are attempting to profit off of this situation by spreading lies and outrageous theories. In the aggregate, it doesn't really get much worse than what she's going through. And so I can't imagine how difficult it must be to sit there and listen to all of this. But Josh made a good point at the end of them speaking with you, which was that maybe the prosecution comes back and say, hey, look, we've given you enough. We rest, our case, so to speak, and what we're doing here. And I thought the defense attorney actually, right before they stopped for lunch, did say that they weren't going to cross-examine the agent. So that's off the table now. So, Paul Mauro made the point that there is stuff we likely haven't even seen yet that presumably they would be keeping for trial. So I don't really see the point in going, but really for anyone at this point. The judge has what he needs. The prosecution has proffered more than enough evidence at this point. I don't see how any of this helps the defense at this point. It's just hurting them significantly. So I think everyone needs to close up shop and be done. But, given the way the judge has approached this case, it's probably unlikely.
Paul, I want to bring you back in here on this, more color from the courtroom. Erica and Kathy, Charlie Kirk's mother, and Erica, his now widow, they were both tearing up, we were told, as Agent Davis was testifying about the letter. And the letter references the keyboard letter, the letter that Tyler Robinson left under the keyboard for his roommate to find. It was shown in court. It was a handwritten note. It was lengthy, we are told, a lengthy handwritten note, a full page. Just more incredible evidence. I mean, a full-page handwritten note that clearly detailed his intentions to kill Charlie Kirk.
That's right. And as Josh Ritter made the point, that's been authenticated now by Twiggs. And Twiggs, in fact, took a photo of that note and didn't dispose of it, as Robinson asked him to do. And then, of course, you get this story that we heard, which is the next morning, Robinson starts to realize the fantasy balloon has popped, and he understands what he got himself into. I just got to go back to it. The evidence is incontrovertible, but you know what? At some point, and it doesn't matter legally, but this is very cruel in a way to the family, to Charlie Kirk's family. Wrap this thing up and let's go.
I pray for that.
Yeah.
Wow.
No real reason to keep it going. Paul, thank you to you. Kerri, thank you to you. Josh and Donna and James Galliano as well. Really appreciate your help in the coverage.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.